to go get started making my delicious strawberry scones with the 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder already measured into this bowl right here. To add to that, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of, I use the Azúcar Morena. It's a more natural sugar. I like it. You can feel free to use any type of sugar that you like. To that, I'm going to add my secret butter that has in fact been frozen and shredded. And what you're left with is a very, very, very fine textured butter. And in pastry, the secret is to really keep things really cold. My grandmother actually used to freeze her flour, which I thought was ridiculous. But the colder, the better. Sorry, let the flour coat the butter. A cup of buttermilk. That wasn't quite full, so I'm going to add just a little splash more. And 2 teaspoons of orange zest. Now what we want is we just want this to come together. It's going to seem a little wet, and that's fine. 12-inch by 12-inch you can see the little specks of the orange in the batter. Now what I've done is spread out my strawberries evenly down the center, leaving a seam, a little space around the edge, and we're going to fold this in thirds. And then back again. Okay, now remember, the most important thing is we want to keep this very cold. I'm going to roll this out one more time. Now, sure, it would be easier to have put the strawberries in at the second step, but in my opinion, you don't get the even distribution of the strawberries throughout the scone unless you do it this way. So now, we're just going to do exactly what we did before and fold it into thirds. Once. This is where we cross the line from scone into puff pastry, maybe. Now what we want to do is divide this basically into 4 parts. So straight down the middle. One more time. And each one of these should be square, so even though it might not come out that way, you want to form it into a neat square. Then cut it in half one last time. One last thing, just to make sure that these scones are fantastic, a little bit of melted butter. And a sprinkling of sugar. And this is where this aluminum is going to make this a dream come true. You can be very generous with the sugar and not worry that you're going to have a terrible mess. And what we have here are my complete cooked scones. It's actually somewhere between a scone, puff pastry, and maybe even a little bit of a shortbread.